Thank you for joining us here on The Context, and we begin in Texas, where both President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump are visiting the US-Mexico border. The men are locked in a high-stakes political duel on an issue that could ultimately decide this year's presidential election. Joe Biden is visiting a border city called Brownsville. It's recently seen a drop in the number of people illegally crossing into the US. Donald Trump, meanwhile, is in Eagle Pass, the Texan border town where Republican Governor Greg Abbott has defied the Biden White House by using state National Guard soldiers to detain undocumented migrants and erect border barricades. Mr. Trump spoke there a short time ago.
Nice weather, beautiful day, but a very dangerous border. We're going to take care of it. Thank you.
Another beautiful day, says Donald Trump. Well, immigration is a live topic in the US heading into the election. A recent Gallup survey saw 28% of Americans named immigration as their top concern, beating out every other topic, including the economy and inflation. Some 61% of Americans in a Monmouth survey listed illegal immigration as a very serious problem, with most respondents for the first time saying they support Mr. Trump's proposal of building a US-Mexico border wall. That border was last crossed last year by 2.5 million undocumented migrants. That's an influx that has overwhelmed processing facilities and pushed social services in major American cities to the brink. Our correspondent Tom Bateman filed this report from Eagle Pass, where authorities have been grappling with the issue.
Searching in the shadows along the route of the Rio Grande, we've joined a night patrol searching a favoured landing spot for people who have made a perilous journey to reach the US.
Staying out tonight and whatnot, because we're going to let night shift now.
Okay. This Texas rancher says last month hundreds of people swam and waded onto his land here, and we trace one narrow path in a global wave of the displaced.
Well, there are clothes everywhere, signs of life. This is treacherous for people making their way into America.
Angeli, 7 months pregnant, crossed the Rio Grande yesterday at 3 a.m. Her journey from Honduras's most violent city, gripped by gang warfare, began 2 years ago.
I was holding hands with another pregnant woman when we crossed the river. The water was very cold, and we were afraid of being swept by currents. I was so relieved once we made it to the land.
Record numbers of people seen here last month have been crossing, driven by conflict and instability, drawn by the post-pandemic jobs gap in America. But in an angrily divided country, a broken system for dealing with immigration claims has become a major election issue. The town's former police chief told us the system is failing everyone.
What's the situation?
It's terrible. We need to get Biden out. That's it, plain and simple. We need to get Trump in there to, be more forceful and let our Border Patrol guys do their job.
And Trump-style proposals are on full show. The Republican governor of Texas has sent state troops to the riverbank, he says, to deter migrants, although there are few signs of its longer-term impact. We watched as state forces stopped to check federal patrol trucks, a challenge to Mr. Biden's authority at the border. This border path is now on the campaign trail, and America's issue with immigration is set to be a decisive one in the race for the White House. Tom Bateman, BBC News, Eagle Pass in Texas.
Well, let's go live now to New York and the political analyst Brian Stelter. Hello to you, Brian. Thank you for joining us here. I mean, of all the issues to go head to head with Donald Trump on the same day in the same state, illegal immigration is, it's quite a challenge for the president. What is he thinking? What is the strategy there?
I think it is the thorniest challenge President Biden faces, and many members of his own party are aware of this. I've spoken with Democratic donors and bigwigs who say, we've been telling Biden privately he has to have an answer to these questions about migration. Illegal immigration is the single biggest topic that Fox News and other right-wing media, other pro-Trump media, have focused on basically every day of the Biden administration, every day since he was inaugurated. They believe this is the most important wedge issue that can benefit Republicans. So Biden is clearly hearing from Democrats who want him to take action, and he's hearing that Republican rhetoric against him and thus visiting today.
Yeah, and we've heard that Republican rhetoric already. Donald Trump, as he was landing, talking about a beautiful day, that he's going to go and sort out the border problem. Is it an easy win for Donald Trump?
It's not it is a win in some cases, in some regards. We've seen President Trump be a demagogue on the issue of immigration for many years. Remember, during the 2016 campaign, he made this one of his signature topics. There are arguments, however, that he did not take as many actions in office as he promised, and that he has had a disappointing record, at least to some on the hard right. At the same time, this is something that he is seizing upon. He's on Fox again tonight doing interviews on this subject. I view the 2024 election this way. Every day the subject is migration or illegal immigration, Trump has the advantage. Every day the topic is something like abortion rights, reproductive rights, then Biden has the advantage. After all, that's a big story also in Texas. I interviewed a Texas woman who couldn't get an abortion who's suing the state. So there's that sort of tension between these competing issues, the Democrats believing they're on the defensive on migration for sure.
So we are expecting to hear from both potential candidates for the election this evening, today. Is there anything that President Biden can say to reclaim the narrative on this issue?
I think he has a strong argument that he offered a deal, that Democrats reached a bipartisan deal with some Republicans wanting to provide funding for border security, wanting to take steps to control migration, and yet House Republicans did squash that bill. Trump squashed that bill. Biden is going to say all year long that he had a plan, but Trump ruined it, that the Republicans ruined it. And that is a strong argument. That's an accurate factual argument to make on the campaign trail.
But the fact is that the statistics are that illegal immigration has gone up massively since President Biden has been in the White House, and that is a huge problem.
Yes, and that's partly in the wake of COVID-19 after 2020, when there was relatively little migration happening. The numbers then spiked when Biden took office. Democrats say Biden is also deporting many people, that those numbers have also spiked. But this is a sort of story, even though facts are sometimes pesky, this is a story largely driven by feelings, I think. When I talk to voters about this, it's much more about emotions and anecdotes than it is about statistics. And those anecdotes are about people, especially even in cities like New York, who feel uncomfortable with the rate of migration under Biden.
Those pesky facts, Brian. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always really good to talk to you. Let us go straight. I said we're going to be dropping in and out of Texas this evening. There we are in Brownsville, where President Biden is, as you can see, he is just meeting there. We are expecting to hear some words from him later on this evening, but we did know that he was going to be given a briefing at the border. We'll be talking to Border Patrol guards, finding out the situation there, finding out, I guess, what these people are dealing with on a day-to-day basis as this number of illegal immigrants, undocumented migrants, has continued to rise, as we were just hearing there from Brian, over the past 4 years or so. So there's President Biden. We saw, didn't we, the former President Donald Trump arriving at Del Rio Airport a little earlier. He is himself making his way to Eagle Pass, and we will be talking, or hearing rather, from him a little later on as well. So both President and former President, both in Texas.